An affordable, fragrance-free, alcohol-free, mask-safe makeup routine for sensitive skin. The video hasn't even started, but you are welcome. Yes, this took forever to put together, but I care about your skin. And as your acne big sister who also knows what it feels like to waste an entire paycheck on products that promised not to irritate my skin but then did, I wish that I had had guidance like this or options like these that we will talk about in just a second to put on my face that made me feel and look my best without causing additional damage. Now that being said, this does come with a disclaimer because no, I do not hate artificial fragrance or perfume in skincare or makeup products, and I don't hate denatured alcohol either. I understand how in the right formulas these can be a part of the formulation process or can be essential to the way the product works on the skin. That being said, I fully understand there are some people who do have a true fragrance allergy and want to avoid artificial fragrance or who don't like denatured alcohol, and that's who this routine is for. And yes, you can find most, if not all of these things at drugstores like Ulta. Oh, and yes, they are vegan and cruelty-free. Are you welcome? Are you welcome? Do you love me? Because I mean, this took forever, but you know it's so worth it. This video is also in partnership with NYX Professional Makeup, who has options for all skin tones, some of which are artificial fragrance-free, vegan and cruelty-free, isopropyl alcohol-free, and not all of their products are, but I searched for the ones that would be best for sensitive skin, and yes, support skin colors and tones of every variation, so that we actually have options for our sensitive skin that wants to wear makeup every once in a while. Or every day. I don't judge you, as long as you don't sleep in it. Just remove that stuff before you go to bed. Oh, and did I mention they're $14? When it comes to your skincare routine really is the prep for your makeup. If you have a really nice protected base underneath, your makeup is going to apply better. And that is why things like SPF, your BFF, and makeup primers are important. But let's start with the skincare aspect. You want to make sure that your face is protected. After your serums and your moisturizer should come your sunscreen, and I have two different options for you. The first is this one from Isntree. It's the Hyaluronic Acid Watery Sun Gel at SPF 50, and it's the one I'm currently using. It has niacinamide and ceramides. These are super soothing to the skin, and this has hyaluronic acid that actually helps the sunscreen and helps your skin, doesn't dehydrate your skin or degrade the sunscreen, which yes, some hyaluronic acid products can do. Hyaluronic acid is a glycosaminoglycan, and sometimes the sodium form, sodium hyaluronate, is used in products, and that is basically a big bunch of fancy words and fancy talk for the fact that if you put a hyaluronic acid serum or moisturizer on your face that is not moisturizing the way it should, it could actually grab onto sunscreen if you apply it right after and cause a little bit of issues with the way that this creates a film or sets up on the skin, in the words of my dear Dr. Dre. You know I simp. But this one is amazing. Again, it's a Korean sunscreen. It's a Korean filter, so it is an organic/chemical filter, but this goes onto the skin so nicely and it does not leave a white cast, which we love because we don't want that flashing back underneath our makeup if we take a photo, but we still want to be protected from the sun. Bagoing! This one is affordable. You can get it on Stylevana, on YesStyle, on Amazon, etc. But what if you want a physical/mineral block? Well, I also have an option for you that I am fresh out of because I literally use this physical sunscreen the way Paula Deen does butter. The Australian Gold Tinted Face Mineral Sunscreen SPF 50 is a ride or die, and yes, it is tinted, but it is for men and women. It does work on most skin types. If you are a Fitzpatrick type 1, it might be too dark. If you are a Fitzpatrick type 6, it might be a little bit too light. However, you can get it to blend in really nicely. This has a base of shea butter. It is so super soothing on the skin. Again, it is vegan, it is cruelty-free, it is artificial fragrance-free, it is denatured alcohol-free, it is all of the things except for cost-free, but it's only $16, which is very close to free, especially when we're talking about sunscreens. It has a gorgeous tint, it has no white cast, and again, SPF is your BFF because it really protects your face. This goes so nicely under makeup, it smooths on so well, and if you haven't tried either of these, again, they are affordable, I cannot recommend them enough. Now after that, it's time to talk about primers, and NYX Professional Cosmetics creates literally my two favorite face primers because number one, not only are they all the things free, and only $14 at Ulta, but they also work well underneath foundation. They work to fill in my acne scars, and they grip my makeup onto my face like the Gorilla Glue hair, but without being Gorilla Glue and not putting it in your hair and not having it stay on yourself for a month and having to go to a plastic surgeon to get it taken out of your hair. That poor human, my heart goes out to her. But in like a less aggressive and less TikTok viral form of that, That's what I consider these, because they keep the makeup on my face at least until the end of the day, which is what I want them to do. This right here is the NYX Professional Makeup Shine Killer Primer. This is my favorite for oily prone skin, and it has a little bit of charcoal in it. And here's the thing when it comes to people who have sensitive skin. A lot of people who have sensitive skin and oily skin look for primers, but most oily skin primers are made for people with acne. So they have things like salicylic acid, which is great. We love salicylic acid. It is phenomenal. However, it can be irritating to people who have oily skin but aren't necessarily acne prone, and they're looking for something that is for sensitive skin, and it's soothing, not exfoliating. This is infused with charcoal, so it can wick away oil and shine from the skin, but again, it doesn't have any of those ingredients that actually fight acne or might cause irritation in some people. It's super gentle on the skin, and it has that really nice primary feel, and it comes out black, and then watch! It's like magic, and it blends in to be completely invisible and transparent. Is that not the coolest thing? This sits on my skin so nicely, and what I love about NYX Professional Cosmetics, both on their website and on Ulta, is that it says you can wear this under makeup as a great base for primer, or you can just wear this alone. If you are embracing the makeup-free look, you are letting your skin glow and shine through. This can help to control the oil so that you're not as greasy, but it's not going to give you additional color coverage if you don't want that. Again, it's $14. They also have a $6 one, and I'm actually looking at myself in these lights, and she a little shiny today. So I'm gonna take this, I'm just gonna stripe it right on over, and we're just going to be a little bit mattified because we kill the shine for the rest of today's video. Cash me with no shine. How about that? Now let's say that you're not shiny, but you do have scars from acne or other reasons. You're trying to smooth out texture in the skin. I cannot recommend this enough. This is the Pore Filler Primer. I used to use other primers 10 years ago when my acne was at its worst, and I used to pay like 50 bucks, 60 bucks for a tube of primer, which was good. It was moisture wicking, but it was discontinued by the brand, and this didn't exist yet. And again, this is $14 or like $6 to $8 if you get the small size. This is the Pore Filler. Again, it is completely artificial fragrance free, it is completely isopropyl alcohol free, it is vegan and cruelty free, and it is all of the things that I expect, and at a price that is pleasantly unexpected. This Pore Filler is one of the driest touch but still skin soothing primers I have ever used. You can almost see, I want to describe it almost like bouncy cottage cheese. Do you see how it's almost got like this ricotta texture to it, and then it blends right into the skin? And I want to show you one hand compared to the other because, you know, our skin naturally has wrinkles and creases. Do you see that? It's like it smooths them over like a literal blur, and as long as you don't cake this stuff on, it does not pill up over sunscreen or under foundation. This stuff is amazing, and if you have acne scars, if you have the boxcar or ice pick scars like I do, this is absolutely phenomenal. If you do have small amounts of texture to your face, whether it's from acne, pityrosporum folliculitis, aka fungal acne, even if you've got rosacea, there's nothing in here that should irritate it, and by the way, sunscreen is helpful for rosacea, FYI. But this goes onto the skin so nicely. It is so soothing, and it actually helps to smooth over and fill in some of those scars. Again, I love that the brand actually says you can embrace your face without makeup if you want, and this gives you kind of like that smoothed Instagram filter in real life look without having to apply color cosmetics. But if you did want to apply color cosmetics, you could apply them right over the top of this, and again, these hold foundation to your face until you're ready to take them off. Now, in comes a little caveat, because there are some other options that are still vegan, they are still cruelty free, and they are still denatured alcohol free, but these do have a little bit of fragrance / perfume. Not pushing this on anyone, and if you are not interested in these, then feel free to go to this timestamp. You can just kind of skip forward, but I must say that if you have dry skin, if you don't mind fragrance and you're looking for something a little fun, or if you want something luminizing and glowy, then honey, I do got something for you. Did you see what I did there? This is the Honeydew Me Up Primer / Base. This has these little gold flecks in it, and if you are someone who likes the glow, if you are someone who wants that luminosity to shine literally through the skin, do you see how goopy this is? It is vegan, so there is no actual honey in it, but it is honeydew, and this is very close to honey in my opinion. It goes on super sheer, it really blends down nice, or if you just wanted to use a little bit, kind of here on your cheekbones and a little bit on your nose, it sits nicely on top of foundation, and it has those little flecks that are like reflective gold color that actually give you luminosity. If you're a little bit more dry, there's also the Hydro Touch. I really like this one, especially for the price. This one almost feels like a moisturizer that holds makeup to your face. I know they call it a Hydro Touch primer, and I guess it is, but like literally, I would describe this as a smoothing moisturizer that holds onto the face. It kind of reminds me of the Neutrogena water cream. Actually, the texture is very similar, but Neutrogena is not cruelty-free or vegan, but NYX Professional Cosmetics is. Just saying. You know I'm picky about this stuff. And if you are someone who is all about color correction, this is the Bright Maker, and I just have to say, especially for those who are Fitzpatrick type 4 or 5 or 6, this is so nice. It has a little bit of an orange tint to it as well, so if you do have hyperpigmentation, if you have a little bit of discoloration to the skin, this can really help. And it actually smells like almost like a papaya smoothie. Actually, it doesn't. You know what? I always say papaya because I think papaya smells good. But does anyone ever realize like papaya sometimes smells a little bit like barf? Like, have you ever smelled a papaya? Like, it's delicious and I eat papayas all the time, but like they smell a little bit like barf. So I would say this smells like a tropical fruit smoothie because it smells good. Not like papaya, but when you are sold a papaya smoothie, that's what this smells like. I cannot tell you guys enough how much I love these, and as long as you have a really good base that is both protecting and smoothing out anything underneath the skin, your foundation is going to go on much more flawlessly. But then let's talk about that, because yes, there are a lot of foundations out there that put fragrance into their products. And again, this is okay. This is not a bad thing. I don't hate fragrance, but I understand some people want to avoid it. And especially if you are, you know, a prick for cruelty-free vegan options, like yours truly. You don't want to compromise your morals and values and use products that might irritate your skin when you could have options that don't do that. So this is where some of my favorite products come in. These are from NYX Professional Makeup Total Control Foundation Drops. NYX Professional Makeup was one of the first brands that ever came out with literally like 40 to 100 shades. They launched these amazing like drop makeup foundation things, and you could build foundation onto your skin. This is kind of like the second gen of that, but they actually launched with inclusive shades, which is so appreciated. And again, they have tons of shades when it comes to this formula as well, but they also have these little mix-ins. You know, someone would look at this on the shelf and be like, why is this bright yellow? What am I going to do with this on my skin? Or like, how am I going to make this weird red tone look? And you realize you're actually supposed to take this out and you use this to drop in and be a cosmetic chemist. Be an artist when it comes to your face in the morning. And you can actually mix in the shades that you need. Smooths onto my pores so nicely. And it feels like rubbing mashed potatoes onto my skin. Imagine moisturizing mashed potatoes that don't like gum up, but actually feel really soothing on the skin and protect the skin. Yes, like a liquid mashed potato. You know what? Don't question me. Just roll with it. Just try it and you'll see what I'm saying. Anyways, they actually have these Total Control Pro drops, and this one is in the dark shade, and as you can see, it's a very dark brown, almost black. And so if you have the blackest, most melanated skin, if you're African American, this is actually something that's going to work for you and you can build your color, especially if there are other brands that are not inclusive and you need something to make your previous purchases work for you. And if you are someone who has more yellow undertones to your skin and you're constantly struggling to find something that works, this is something I would highly recommend. Again, this is the yellow color. If you are a Fitzpatrick type 1, if foundations are never the right shade for you, if your face is literally as pasty as this bed sheet that I use as a backdrop, then this is what I would recommend. Again, it's a pure white pigment just in one of these liquid drops from the NYX Total Control, and you just drop this into your foundation to actually make it match you. I can't recommend these enough. Again, vegan and cruelty free, but also when we do look at those ingredients, this doesn't have a bunch of those extra fragrances. This doesn't even have oils or plant extracts that could irritate the most sensitive of skins, which is really wonderful because it's actual color cosmetics, it's actual professional makeup at an affordable price that does what we want it to do and doesn't have all those fancy things. And again, you know that every now and again, I love a good fancy thing, but to actually have options that I can recommend, that's what I'm here to do. This basically has some dimethicone ingredients and then pigments, and that's it. And you mix it into the foundation, which guess what? Has many of the similar ingredients too. Again, it's basically this dimethicone. It's very liquidy, so you can actually build it up in coverage, and then it does have that pigment, so you only need a couple of drops to get a really good base for your face. My two best colors are vanilla and natural, and again, the fact that they're $14 means that I can actually mix them to my skin's needs. My acne used to be so bad, and I was so insecure thinking that the world judged me based on how I looked, that that I needed super full coverage makeup every single day. And now that I've gotten a little bit older, I've gotten more comfortable with my skin and my scars. It's looking really good right now. Like, it is looking excellent, especially because about a week and a half ago at the time that I'm filming this, it looked like this, which was definitely not ideal. But again, I'm not hating myself over it, which is nice. But now that I can embrace my skin with a little bit less makeup, if I don't want to wear a bunch of it, I don't have to. I can just go for a drop or two, or again, I could load this up and do 5 or 6 if I so choose. And that is the beauty of being an artist and using your face as the canvas that it is. You little Picasso, you. The thing I love about this formula is that it is liquidy, but you can build it because they don't have all these extra ingredients that other foundations do. There aren't any ingredients in here that are going to clash with a sunscreen, or there aren't any fragrances in here that are going to clash with a salicylic acid from, you know, an acne primer, you know, and cause like degradation or some chemical reactions on the skin. And usually with color cosmetics, that doesn't happen. That's a very rare thing. But for those who have super sensitive skin, you have to be a little bit more careful. And that's why this is where I start. And then once you've got your foundation applied, it is time to talk about powders and sprays. And again, most sprays have a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, but we'll talk about that at the end because that actually discusses why I don't hate isopropyl alcohol and why I see reasons for denatured alcohol in products. If you do have super sensitive skin, I find loose powders to be a little bit more gentle and delicate because you don't have to stab your face with a brush. But I also recommend powders that actually have sunscreen in them. Again, this is for sensitive skin, and whether you have sensitive skin that is rosacea prone, sensitive skin with acne, sensitive skin with hyperpigmentation, all of these conditions can be exacerbated by, guess what? Your friend, the good old sun that gives you UVA, UVB, and yes, even UVC rays, even though the UVC rays are blocked by the atmosphere, unless you're a welder, in which case you better be wearing a helmet. Moral of this story is that you need sunscreen, and yes, I would recommend that underneath your foundation as well as using it in a way that you can reapply throughout the day. This one is from Supergoop, you just kind of dust it on. There's also this one from Color Science. This is an SPF 50 as well, and this is actually made for rosacea prone skin in mind. There's also the Dr. Sandra Lee MD. She has a really good one. That's probably my favorite, but I am fresh out. And all of these are basically these little brushes that actually dust powder onto the skin. And again, this makeup tutorial is for people with sensitive skin, and there is nothing in here that should irritate or aggravate the skin, especially because now we're applying this over a layer of sunscreen, of primer, and foundation. So even if there are things in your color cosmetics like your blush or your powders, they shouldn't be as irritating on the skin because they have these layers that are separating them. Now, if you're going for like some of these really heavily scented peach things and you have sensitive skin, you might not want to do that if you're super sensitive. Or red number 40 sometimes irritates sensitive skin, so just turn and learn those ingredients and look out for them and actually get tested by an allergist to see if you truly have a problem. But if you're looking for a loose powder that does have SPF in it, these are two that I would highly recommend just using over your makeup. And again, you can put your mask over all of this. You can choose not to wear a mask in your selfies if you're not going out in public and you're just doing makeup for you. But if you do want to put cosmetics on, this is something that you can use that doesn't irritate you throughout the day and still makes you look the way that you choose to present yourself to the world. Now let's touch on the interesting topic of these makeup sprays. I have to admit, I do love these. There's a mattifying one and a luminizing one. Again, these are from NYX Professional Makeup. This is the Radiant Finish one. This is a little bit more of a dewy look. And then there's also the matte finish. With most sprays, including these, there is denatured alcohol. Denatured alcohol or isopropyl alcohol does evaporate. That's what allows some products to feel so smooth onto the skin. That's what allows some products to penetrate into the skin. And in cosmetic, whether it's makeup or skincare manufacturing, sometimes denatured alcohol or isopropyl alcohol is used kind of in a first phase. Think of that as like a first round. And it actually helps dissolve ingredients in others, or it evaporates off, or it's actually used in the formula because of how it works. And again, if you're looking for a spray, you want to deliver something like an oil in a mist form. Have you ever tried to mist an oil? Oil is globby, it likes to stick together, it's not going to work very well. But if you put it into a formula that has denatured alcohol, which naturally evaporates very quickly, you shake it up and then you spray it, you can actually get pigments, oils, and other helpful ingredients dispersed onto the skin. You don't have to use these, but if you wanted to, I would highly recommend them both. Vegan, cruelty-free, they pass all my checks and standards, and they don't make my wallet feel like it's hemorrhaging. This video took forever to put together, and it took 2 memory card crashes and a whole whole bunch of editing to get to you, so if that like button doesn't match my shirt, please fix that and check your priorities if you are not subscribed. And if you are subscribed but you're still not wearing sunscreen, then you still need to check your priorities. And again, I will list all of these below. I do always encourage you to put your money where your morals are, and remember that whether it's skincare or whether it's makeup, it's an experience that's a ritual for you. It's not a routine, it's not a chore, it's a ritual. And it's something that you should do for yourself to help you decide how you choose to express yourself to the world. So with that being said, thank you for letting me express myself here. Always remember to be beautiful inside and out, and I cannot wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.